And something that we have starting to really get familiar with is this dry weather that we have been seeing across the state. Here's a look at Taos from their webcam in HD. And over the last 3 hours, things have been pretty quiet. We were mostly sunny 3 hours ago, and it took a little while for those clouds to really start to develop. And even at that, we're only looking at a few fair weather cumulus clouds. So it is going to be another quiet day across much of the state, maybe a spot storm or two over the higher elevation communities, but we're not really going to be looking at much in the way of shower activity, and that includes Metro, where we have a few clouds popping up over the Sandias. But again, fair weather cumulus clouds not really amounting to much this afternoon. 83 degrees the current temperature with a west wind at 5 miles per hour. Temperatures across the north in the upper 70s to low 80s until you get out to the northeastern part of the state once again this afternoon, where they are really heating up once again. 91 in Tucumcari, 89 already in Clayton, 90 degrees in Roswell, 89 in Carlsbad, and we're in the mid 80s down in the southwestern part of the state as well. We do have quite a bit of dry air still across the state. This again is water vapor, which is a measure of how much moisture there is up in the atmosphere, and you can see where all the blues and whites are, where we have all the moisture north of the state, and we also have some south of the state. But right here in New Mexico, we are not looking at much moisture at all. It is still very dry, and the satellite and radar shows that as well, where we are not really picking up much in the way of shower activity. In fact, the entire Southwest not picking up much shower activity. So things will be quiet once again this afternoon, with maybe a couple of stray spot storms across the higher peaks of the northern mountains into the Gila as well. But most of us will stay dry throughout this afternoon, and that continues on for Friday as well, still keeping that spot storm chance in for some of those higher elevation communities, but otherwise it's going to be dry and warm throughout the afternoon. Over the weekend, things do start to change a little bit. We'll start to edge a little bit more moisture back into the state, and we'll start to see more scattered storms across the western portions of the state. This especially starts to happen on Sunday, and then by early next week, we bring a weather disturbance just west of the state, and that's going to help boost up shower activity for those locations as well. But between now and then, we stay rather warm and dry with temperatures still above average. We're going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above average across the northwestern part of the state, down into the southwest. Same story here. We're going to be a few degrees to up to 5 degrees above average in the southeast. Not as much above average, but still a couple degrees for Carlsbad, 6 degrees above average for Roswell, and only about a degree or so above average for Hobbs. And the biggest story for the heat is going to be across the northeast, where Raton today will be 11 degrees above average for this time of the year. But with more moisture earlier next week, we start to bring those temperatures down. Southern Colorado temperatures into the 80s for today, but once we bring those better storm chances in for especially the middle of next week, we're back into the upper 70s. Over the northwest, mix of sun and clouds, only a stray storm possible, dry throughout much of the weekend, then better storm chances with highs back in the mid 80s for early next week. Over the southwest, partly sunny with a spot storm possible, especially over the Gila, and better storm chances for the beginning of next week with highs returning to the upper 70s. Over the southeast, temperatures here today into the mid to upper 90s with lots of sunshine, but by the early next week with more moisture, we're back to around 90 degrees for afternoon highs. Over the northeast, mostly sunny for today, better storm chances by the beginning and middle of next week. Afternoon highs eventually back into the mid 70s. Over the northern mountains, we'll have a spot storm chance for this afternoon. Highs into the 70s and 80s. Santa Fe back to around 80 degrees with better storm chances for next week. Over the east mountains, sunny with highs in the mid to upper 80s. In the metro, we'll top out in the low 90s this afternoon with lots of sunshine, and it stays pretty dry through the upcoming weekend. But by the time we bring in those storm chances by early next week, our afternoon highs are back to the mid 80s.
Okay, thanks, John.